Breaking news. Take a look at shares of International Consolidated Group. It's tacking on another 3 to 4%, depending on the second you're looking at this, to yesterday's 12% gain. IAG, this is the company behind airline partnership One World Alliance, which includes 13 major carriers from British Airways to Iberia Airlines, American, Finnair, Qatar Airways, among others. On a powerful two-day run after the Biden administration announced yesterday that by early November, foreign travelers will be welcomed back to the U.S. How will those foreigners pick their lodging in this new age? Well, if Airbnb stock is any indication, the world's original and largest short-term home rental company could be a top choice, up nearly 5% right now. To our first in-studio guest in 18 months, let's bring in Brian Chesky, the co-founder and CEO of Airbnb. Okay, I have to know, between yesterday and the Biden announcement that they're going to reopen the gates to foreign travelers, and today, in the last hour or so, what do your bookings on your website look like?
Well, I'm not able to disclose that, but I can tell you that before the pandemic started, cross-border travel was half of our business. So everything you've seen this last year, our Q2 results, was primarily domestic travel around the world. And so this is massive. Once people can cross borders, that's the other half of our business starting to return.
And what do you expect as far as the breakdown is concerned, leisure versus business travel?
Vast majority be leisure. And I mean, we've always been a majority leisure business. And but I think in the future, there's going to be a major shift from business travel to leisure travel. I don't think business travel is ever quite coming back to the way it was in 2019. And the reason why is because we've learned that so much of what we used to do by business travel, 1-2 day trips, can now be done with technology on Zoom. So it's not going to go away, but it's going to be a little bit smaller. And I think that delta is going to shift to people doing more leisure travel. The less you travel for business, the more they want to travel for fun.
When you talk about leisure, and these foreigners who are jumping on the website maybe right now as we speak.
Yes.
Americans largely chose to stay home. They traveled domestically over the past year. What kind of inventory do you have left? I tried to book one in a very popular town, and there was nothing available.
Well, the good news is that we do have 6 million homes all over the world, including in the United States. So we're adding hosts every single day. Since Q2, since May, we've added 300,000 hosts. So we're adding a lot of hosts. But the other thing we do is we have a new feature called I'm Flexible, where you can say, I'm flexible about where I want to travel and when I want to travel. What this means is we can now point demand to where we have supply. This is a whole paradigm shift in travel.
Is that AI? Artificial intelligence guides people. Okay, I wanted to go to the Hamptons. It ain't happening. Let me go to the Catskills.
We use machine learning to basically peruse like 100,000 different destinations to pick the really best destinations for you. And this is a big revolution in travel, because it used to be that people used to know where they're going, when they're going, and business travel is a big dominant part of travel. Now we're living in a world where you work, where you live, and where you travel aren't necessarily separate places. They're all the same place. They're your home. But because people have flexibility, they can work from many different homes. This opens the door to travel, and it means that people can travel anytime, they can travel any place, they can stay longer. Half our business is longer than a week. The stays are longer than a week. A fifth of our business is longer than a month. That's not even travel. So a fifth of our business is not even travel. It's people living on Airbnb.
But Brian, I think about what we've learned in this past year, and if we've learned anything, nothing is a sure thing.
Exactly.
The Delta variant reared its head. Yes, the Biden administration has lifted restrictions for fully vaxxed Europeans. Anything could change, and it's that particular volatility in the travel landscape that Eric Sheridan of Goldman Sachs yesterday said might be something that brings your stock down. I mean, I believe he has a price target call on the stock that's 20% lower than where we are right now. Why is he wrong? Or is he wrong?
Well, one of the things that I think really resonated when we went public was this idea that Airbnb has an adaptable business model. I said, I'm not necessarily going to be able to predict the future, but however the world changes, we can adapt. We have nearly every type of space, in nearly every type of city, and nearly every price point. However travel changes, we can adapt, because we didn't pour a bunch of concrete into certain cities. we have hosts that have millions of homes all over the world. So we have an adaptable business model, and we are a very innovative culture. We've made over 100 upgrades to our service just in the first 6 months of this year. There's an old saying that the best way to stay on a bike is to keep moving. Airbnb is going to keep moving.
Yeah, well, when you just said concrete, I think that's a swipe at the hotel industry, which is fine because they took punches at you, definitely. In fact, for a guy who had to face not only an entire industry that was trying to beat up on you as you cracked open this sector egg in 2008. I mean, August, right as the financial crisis was hitting and Lehman was going under. You have had to deal with some pretty tough competitors and lobbyists, but what you also did is force them to start their own types of businesses where they're home sharing. I mean, now, and I don't want to say copycat, but they're copycatting. I mean, Verbo, everything else is out there. You know, the big hotel chains certainly have brand new ideas that they are trying to mimic off you. How do you stay ahead of the pack?
Well, the first thing I'd say is I never believed that for us to win, that hotels or anyone else had to lose. And until the pandemic, it was pretty clear that as we grew, they had record profits. Going forward, it's not going to be Airbnb that's going to be a threat to anyone. The only threat is the world's going to keep changing, and whoever doesn't adapt won't be around in the future. So the way we keep adapting is by continually having an adaptive culture and a very innovative culture. I went to design school. We're very much rooted in design and technology, Airbnb. We're constantly asking ourselves, how can we improve the service? How can we change? Where's the world going? Let's move there before anyone else. That's embedded in the DNA of this company.
Okay, the world's going to cryptocurrency. When will you begin beta testing people to pay for their Airbnbs with crypto?
We get a lot of requests. I've been getting it for years. I have nothing to announce today on it, but fun fact is the founder of Coinbase used to work for Airbnb,
right.
So we're really proud of their success, and it's really great to see what's happening.
Okay, but are you closer than you were in April when you first talked about this?
Can't say anything more about that.
Okay, I'm taking that as a yes, everybody. Okay, but I'm glad you brought up Coinbase.
Yeah.
You obviously started a whole new sector, and you had to deal with the lobbyists and the regulators and a lot of local municipalities that tried to beat up on you. How then do you view what the SEC is doing, I guess, to Coinbase at the moment and to the whole crypto space as they try and wrap their arms around this burgeoning and very new industry and sector? I mean, do you think that they risk ruining something that might just be the next big thing?
I probably shouldn't comment too much except to say one of the things I've learned is, you know, it's really important for business and government to sit across from each other face to face. You know, I used to think if people don't like you, you should avoid them. And what I learned is that you should actually do is like meet the people, like educate them about your business, learn. And I think that the whole education process sometimes can be a little bit messy, but I think they're just probably an education process on both sides. And I think I'm optimistic about what they'll come up with.
Well, it makes sense. You got to talk and you got to communicate. Last month, you and Airbnb announced that you would be offering up 20,000 homes for short-term lodging for Afghan refugees as the Taliban invaded the whole country and took it over. I want to know the genesis of that idea, and it's going to be funded in great part by you.
Yes.
Who came up with the idea and why?
10 years ago, Hurricane Sandy hit New York City. I think it was like 9 years ago. And we had a host who said, we want to house people that were temporarily displaced for free. And so we started with our host nearly a decade ago, housing people for free, initially for displaced disasters. Then, a few years ago, we started housing refugees. Over the last decade, we've housed about 100,000 people for free. So we had already been doing this for about a decade. When this occurred, it occurred to us that this might be one of the great humanitarian crises of our time. And so at that point, we thought, we can step up. We can help. And so we made a big commitment to house 20,000 Afghan refugees for free.
How many are in houses right now?
Right now, around 700, but I do think we're going to get to that 20,000 number, and it looks like there's a lot more refugees than 20,000, so if we can increase that number, we will.
You're heading right now to Queens to the Skift conference. And for those of you who don't know, Skift is sort of the news website for the travel industry. What's your main message to them? My main message is there's a travel revolution. Travel as we know it is over. There's a new kind of travel emerging. It's built on flexibility. People are going to be staying longer. They're going to be going to more places, and it's going to be all about leisure travel. Brian Chesky, Airbnb, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you very much. And right now the stock is up 5% at this very moment, or $8.11. Pretty much session highs here for Airbnb.